Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. A viewer requested a natal chart analysis, a birth natal chart analysis, so that's what we'll be doing. Immediately, you notice in his 12th house, which is the house of endings, the house of reckoning, he has Gemini, which is the twins, with the third house. The 12th house can usually represent things that are hidden, but can also represent prenatal situations. And if you notice, his ascendant just makes it into the first house at 1 degree. So immediately you see that's Cancer. Cancer is going to be family issues. Could even deal with educational issues, teenage to adult education, land and property or real estate, the heart, the health, the heart, family and ancestors, possibly vehicles and travel. And you see he's got a lot of activity in his ninth house, which deals with a lot of long distance travel. Gemini deals with a lot of more like shorter distances of travel. So these are all themes in his life, just getting started. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes these people have foreign connections, maybe relatives that are connected to what we would call here in the United States foreigners, or foreigners, or even foreign lands, foreign countries, long distance. Okay, you see number 22. Well, it's minus, and not degrees, but it's 13 degrees. 22 is the east point. The east point is where the sun was when this person was born. The east point was in Gemini at 13 degrees. 22 is a number of God's people. It's also 1111, which is 22. It's also 4, which is an angelic number. Then 18 always be 666. It's 1 degree AC. The ascendant is where the sun was moving over the horizon at birth. So at the end of everything, they're putting something together between family. And see, Gemini rules brothers and sisters. Could also rule your community around you. The brotherhood, like community brotherhood. This is all going on in Gemini. So again, it's just a connection between that 12th house, which may even have to do with past life issues, as well as present life issues that have to be addressed. And then the ascendant, for whatever reason, is taking it right into the family. But the first house is Cancer. So his ascendant would be Cancer at 1 degree. Novus, something he's going into, and it's going to be, like I said, family. Everything I just said, because Cancer is going to rule the 4th house. And we'll talk more about Gemini when we get to the 3rd house, and also when we go around this chart and end up back at the 12th house. So his first house and is his ascendant at 1 degree. So his personality will be what I said, family. Also, the mother's in the first house. Whoever raised this person in a mother position when he was younger, this is called Aimom Kweli, but it's connected with the moon and Cancer. So wherever you find the moon at on this chart is going to have a connection to his first house, but also his 4th house, because that's what Cancer is. Going right to his 4th house before we do the 2nd and 3rd house. Again, now you have more social stuff, but this is family, but Libra in the 4th house. So it's even a possibility he's taking some type of education and some type of social issue or law or legal issue, because you have Libra in the 4th house. And we already said that can also be the educational house. He may have had some people in his family that were in the law field coming out of the 4th house. And he may have legal issues regarding land and property. And you can see right there, if you look down, you have Juno at 28 degrees. So once again, 28 degrees is somewhat of an ending in that particular cycle. But again, relationship, going back to the 1st house. of family. And that's the first thing I noticed when I looked at the chart. He has a lot of activity on the right side of this chart. Now, right side from the viewer perspective, but again, that is the relationship side. So this is really like family. This is relationships, and he may find himself in a serious relationship. But if it's at 28 degrees, it's almost like later on. See 28, 29 there later on, but he will find some type of family relationship, which we'll learn more as we proceed through the chart. So we're going to look at Libra in the 4th house. Okay, because Libra deals with law, contracts, open enemies, agreements, partnerships, relationships. And again, when you see Juno and Libra together, it's like a serious-minded person, a relationship-minded person. And this person would kind of want to do it with somebody. And Gemini is the twins. So that's kind of true with Gemini too, but Gemini is a little bit different than Libra. Libra kind of really wants you to be there. Gemini wants you there, but Gemini still wants his freedom, just like Aquarius. But the one thing about a Libra is sometimes they see the world a certain way, and when their dream is not realized, they can withdraw. Not always, but that's something that's noted about Libra. And they won't necessarily tell you. They'll just start to withdraw. So that wouldn't be good if you were trying to be in a relationship with somebody, because they could be withdrawing from you and you may not even realize it. So when there's a family-minded person, and they kind of want it to be like a family. Like the person is the person he would choose as his life partner. He would want that person to get along with the family, and with mother. And if mother was no longer around, he still would want that connection, like reminds him of his mother and stuff like that. But remember, Libra is not just relationships. Like I said, it's law. So this person may be even connected with social issues, or he may even have some legal family related issues as well. But that is where he will find a serious relationship. So he might find himself in a serious relationship with a Libra, or a Libra type person, or because Cancer rules the 4th house, or a Cancer type person. And if the person he might find a relationship to might have a close relationship with the moon as well. And again, Cancer in the 1st house, which is ruled by Aries, means this person would be very active when it comes to family or education and I'm getting a vibration that they are associated with travel, or they like to travel, or like I said, they have relatives or family that are foreign from where they are, long distance from where they are. Now, the second house is ruled by Taurus, but it deals with finances, possessions, and value system. Now, he's a leader in these areas, but he also may like to have fun in these areas as well. So his money is kind of like fun, but it's still with family because Leo represents children too. And again, Leo travels as well. So that's how he basically views finances. What good is having it if you can't have fun with it? But he's kind of somewhat of a leader in his financial aspect. Third house is healing. You got Virgo there, which is health. And you got Chiron retrograde. So he's got some type of issue with Virgo that's hard to heal. Now, who would that be? You know, Virgo rules the sixth house. Might be some answers there. We will be taking a look at that. But we already explained the third house. The third house is your most creative house as well. And Gemini is good with communications. Is a mental, very mental type person. Uses the mind a lot. But Gemini does not stay in long-term relationships. So if you see Virgo in your third house, it's probably because Gemini rules the third house. It's probably because Virgo's trying to heal that emotional energy of Gemini that doesn't want to be in a long-term relationship or a really committed relationship. And then, so the third house is going to take you back to the 12th house where Gemini is. And usually the 12th house opposes the 6th house. And see, that's how you start to get to the bottom of it, because the 6th house, you see that moon. So like I told you, the person he has a relationship with is going to be some type of moon connection. And I already explained why. And now you got Sagittarius, which once again is long distance. In a relationship, you want Sagittarius, especially if it's a twin flames relationship, because Sagittarius is more mature. In fact, Sagittarius represents like the later relationship, like the second marriage or breaking up with somebody and getting back with them. And that's what that 28 can represent, later. It doesn't really solidify until later. 28 degrees. You're almost out of that constellation. You're almost out of that house. And that's what you're getting off this chart. So this may be somebody that he may be with. They may separate, maybe have some problems, but then they may come back together at a different time. Could be a marriage. First marriage, breakup, they get back to the second marriage. But the indications are whatever it is, it's later. And like, not saying it, they may connect in the beginning, but it's not going to be what I would say more connected to later. And Virgo is there. Virgo represents your 6th house, which is about healing, health, service, home, family, small children, small animals, co-workers, subordinates, and daily activities. So again, this person may have had that type of activity or service in communication and cues, any type of communication, publishing, writing, speaking, presenting oneself. And again, with Virgo right there, that could have also been part of his daily activities or part of his career. Now, so he's got a lot of Leo energy going on. Because in his 5th house, you see the vertex. That cross means this is where you're going to have a significant meeting in your life, a significant event in your life, or a significant breakup in your life. This could be a soul mate. That's a member in your soul family who you're going to have a unique relationship with. It could be your twin soul. That is the same soul in 2 different bodies. But this is in the 5th house. And this is going to be a very powerful trend. This is when you see people and they're almost obsessed. They're almost obsessed with the person, because you got powerful Pluto and you got powerful Scorpio. And with this, it gets a little complicated. The fifth house gets very complicated because you also have Jupiter. So in other words, this person is going to be helping you one way or another with income from Jupiter. Jupiter is expansion, good fortune, but it's all really because of that Scorpio and that Pluto. But how it gets complicated is this: Scorpio rules the eighth house. The eighth house opposes the second house. The eighth house is about other people's money. The second house is about your money. So somehow your finances is going to be kind of connected to this person. One, like I said, it could be supernaturally, universal wise. Because I know I had a soulmate that came in my life. In fact, today is her birthday, and a whole lot of like good fortune came when I was with her. So that good fortune that came was directly related to that person. Because this is all based on universal laws. We're in a matrix right now, and we're under really it's like it's a dictatorship at the end of the day, because they destroyed all the indigenous people and all our sciences and secrets. They stole them from us, and they gave us this crap that we listen to, that we actually curse ourselves and weaken ourselves, even by words we speak. That's why they make you sign in cursive, like you're cursing yourself. So we're not who we are. We're not who we really are. See, universal laws, you would understand what I'm saying, but that's what this is. So now you're gonna need a free report. Everybody that gets their natal chart the first time, they get a free report, and I list everything that's in the eighth house because it's a very long read. But this fifth house is gonna be highly obsessive, powerful, transforming, secretive, sexual, and it's like it's going to be a lot of money involved because of Jupiter. And so his second house is going to be blessed financially when he's connected with the Scorpio in the fifth house. And this is still children. It could be children or even childlike ways. I just want to have a lot of fun, going, spending a lot of money, a lot of sex, but you're still going to have intensity, uh, watery, intense, watery emotions. So this is all brought about by Leo energy or Leo situations, because that's the fifth house, and that's where you'll find this Scorpio. Sometimes it's the same person, sometimes it's not. The Libra and the Juno represent the serious relationship, so that's going to take you to your seventh house. But this person is just a person. The fifth house. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's the same person, sometimes it's not. And this is the person is all the great sex, the great fun, but the intensity and all that. And if you notice that Pluto goes all the way to this 27 degrees, The Libra went to 28 degrees, and the Pluto goes all the way to the 27th degree. And the number following the situation in your 5th house is number 19. Scorpio can also deal with technology, alchemy, sciences, astrology, the occult, psychic stuff. Because yeah, and that's what I said. Because a lot of time when you deal with people that deal with that psychic energy, money, they attract a lot of money. All right, we're going to look at Scorpio in the 5th house. All right, so I cover most of it. I'm just reading this over. I cover most of it. What I'm trying to do is cover anything that I haven't already covered. So give me a moment. They said this type of person, they even like putting themselves in life or death situations. Now that could be literally jumping out bungee cord, jumping out of planes. It could be that, but it could just be other stuff. It's just death and rebirth, because that's both a Pluto and a Scorpio theme. See, your 5th house is your 8th house, is what I'm trying to tell you. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, but Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So this is all death and rebirth, but this is all soul stuff, soul reincarnation, twin soul, past life. And they say these people might even see sexual activity as a act like a sport, like say, or recreation, like they just like sex. Um, and see, because Leo is very passionate anyway. So they say, but it's not just sex; it's also they want the deepness. And I already said that it's like psychic. Even he says psyche, but psychic and psyche, it's almost the same word. So that it has to be deeper than just sex. And it is almost like the sex helps generate the Jupiter blessings. And they say this is all about a struggle, a mastery, a surrender. And I said everything they do is all or nothing. And the 5th house and the 3rd house are very creative houses. And his 5th house is going to be very creative, because Scorpio is a creative house too. And they're saying Scorpio can be very manipulative, but Leo also can have an ego. So it's a very intense house, but you see Jupiter right there, willing to bless it. So that's why he's got nothing in his second house, because the universe is telling him that the money that he would get in the second house is based on how he carries out in the fifth house. So that Scorpio is very important to the Jupiter blessing or the financial blessing of the second house. Now, the sixth house is Sagittarius, represents your higher self. The higher self will always be the two souls coming back together as one. That's your higher self, is both of you back together. The Sagittarius rules the ninth house and is ruled by Jupiter. So once again, still going to be connected. So that fifth house is going to be connected to the sixth house. Sagittarius deals with foreign things, foreign matters, foreign people, foreign lands, long distance travel, higher laws, higher courts, culture, class, religion, philosophy. And Sagittarius is kind of like a traveler. And also Sagittarius is a healer. The symbol for Sagittarius is a centaur. Now this is his true north node and his moon sign. The moon side is the inside of you. It's feminine energy. And again, it's connected to Cancer. The sixth house usually opposes the 12th house. But because of the moon, they're actually dealing with your 12th and your first house. And that's why I say you got past life going on here with a present life. And that's why they put your ascendant at 1 degree. And that's family, because this person in your past life, you kind of consider family, but you were obviously in a relationship with this person. And also has something to do with your family. And the more you look at it, it's almost like that person was family or is family even in this life. So Sagittarius and Virgo are working to heal the Gemini energy, because it's the Gemini energy that keeps you separated. That's over and over on any twin flame chart. You can see it. And Gemini usually represents the initial stages, whereas Sagittarius represents the later stages. So it's almost on your natal chart where you left off in one life, representing the 12th house, you had to send into or pick up in this life. And your true north node or your goal for this life is to make that full connection with this person. And that's what Sagittarius represents. Now, because the 7th house especially, yeah, you got a lot in the 7th house. In fact, all that stuff, unbelievably, all that stuff is in your 7th house with Capricorn. So now you have 27 degrees Saturn in your 9th house. Because we're going to leave your, let me do this again. In your 8th house, you have Sagittarius. In your 8th house, you have Saturn at 27 degrees with Aquarius in the 8th house. So that's very interesting. All right, I got to type a couple of things up, so give me a moment. Just give me a second. So again, when you get your free reward, just read that over because there's so much in the 8th house. And I brought out the main ones as it applies to your natal chart, but still, it's just wise to look that information over. And give me a moment, I'm pulling all this information up. All right. Give me a moment, I'm going to read all this over. And remember, wherever you see Scorpio, whether it's the 8th house or your Scorpio in the 5th house, it's going to make that situation deep. So this is for Aquarius in the 8th house. Yeah, so see the 8th house. So he's not only a family type person, he's also a community type person. Because Aquarius is that 11th house, and that's all about friends, association, groups, the community. But we're going to find out much more. That's why I want to take my time on the 8th house. Because Scorpio is very powerful, so is Pluto, and they both rule the 8th house. So this person is real good with people and getting people to support things. And they're able to use a group or a team in matters of finances, materials, physical resources. And again, Aquarius will always be an alternative way to do this. But we have to understand it because you got Saturn there as well. So we have to really understand what's going on. So this type of person could be a financial manager or CFO of a company. And sometimes when you see Saturn there, that is what that could mean. But see, don't forget about the Leo. Don't forget about the Libra. Because sometimes these people are just in law. Like they're in the legal aspect of finances in a organization. Because even if you were a CFO, even that person is still gonna have to understand something about laws. And so is a CEO. And if you are even, they said this person could just be, they raise a lot of money, but you still would have to be somewhat concerned with legal. And that's why I said be careful when you see Libra, because it could become legal. So you have to be very careful when you see that. All depends on where Libra is. They say this type of person might have a lot of ideas on how to use technology to generate financial, material, and or physical capital. And even whenever you see Sagittarius or Aquarius, that could be the internet, the World Wide Web. But then they say this person has, that's what I was trying to warn him about in the 5th house. Be careful not to let the group you are part of take power or control over your life. But remember, Scorpio is in his 5th house. So it's not just a group of Aquarius group. It's not just an Aquarius group. It's also that person that's in the 5th house. Because that's what I was trying to warn him about. See, whenever you see Scorpio, see, you want to see Scorpio in the 8th house. Because that's other people's money. When you see Scorpio like in your 2nd house, that means your 2nd house, which should be your money, has just become other people's money. And you have to be careful with stuff like that. And that's why I say, you know, I gotta mention these things. Whenever you gotta watch Libra as well, because you could actually get yourself in trouble with the law. Because there's a whole lot of people in trouble with the law. It's a whole lot of people in jail because they got involved with others. You know, others, and then that thing goes down, and now you're in trouble. And a lot of people, you're really in jail or whatever, going through a legal situation because of others. So you have to be real careful. So it says, be careful not to let the group you are a part of take power or control over you or your life, and that would include your finances. With this placement, it's easy to allow yourself to live vicariously through the people or organizations you represent or work for. See what I'm saying? So that's what I was trying to tell you. You got to be careful with this placement. So they say both Uranus, who rules Aquarius, and Aquarius, they love the 8th house because you're still dealing with metaphysics, science, astrology. Search for truth. So this person is really searching for those things, seeking out the mysteries, the whys of life. And then, of course, Aquarius is going to share it with other people. The information they know, they try to share it with other people. So they say, but an Aquarian is interested in the roots of the tree, but not the branches waving in the air above. Like I said, well, that's why Aquarius is a lot like Gemini, because they don't want to know all that. Like they don't really want to care. They'll immediately move on. Like if you try to go deep with a Gemini Aquarius, they're not trying to hear all that. Like a Gemini, as long as he understands, like he'll say, oh, people are hungry. Okay, people are hungry, but he don't care about, like he don't want to hear about the emotions. Oh, they're so hungry, and when they're starving, this happens, and blah blah blah. And they don't want to hear all that. They're like, oh no, that's getting a little too deep for me. So the universe will take Aquarius or Gemini and throw it in the 8th house, or throw it in with Scorpio to make it go deeper. Like it forces it to go deep. And see, that house is all about feelings. So this Aquarian will be able, if this Aquarian allows the 8th house to do its job, it'll not only be able to understand the situation, it'll be able to feel it. Because very emotional. The 8th house, Scorpio, very emotional, very feeling. So Aquarius in the 8th house and Cusp on the 8th house, they see how things are integrated, interdependent on everything, the interrelationships. So they said Aquarius must be able to apply this information to the real world, and that's when that's when the feelings come in, because that's how it goes. We always get a lot of theories on everything, But real life is totally different. So somebody can go into a situation thinking they got the answers, but you're dealing with like feelings, and you would have to understand human psychology, and that's where Sagittarius, in my opinion, would come in. Because if you don't understand human psychology, as well-meaning as you are, you may still fail. Because you might find that the very same people you're trying to help are sabotaging you, because they've already made up their mind with how far they're going to go and how far they're not going to go. And that's why the warning in this reading to you is be careful. The 8th house is also the house of endings, just like the 12th house. There's a lot of similarities between the 8th house and the 12th house. So in endings, this could be the end of life. But see, the 8th house is also about death and rebirth, reincarnation, rejuvenation, regeneration. So it's also about how we end things, a relationship, a friendship, a job, a project. But they say Aquarius in the 8th house, he's not as interested in endings as much as he is about the traveling. And that's when I first started, when I said that. I've been saying traveling, traveling. So Aquarius is like a two coin. One side of the coin, new innovative ideas, but the other side is destruction through the destroying of established conventions. But even that destruction might be considered creative. But that's what the 8th house is about. Build, destroy, recreate, build again, and continue in the process. So they say Aquarius in the 8th house is more interested in the spirit of creation as opposed to regeneration. Now remember, Uranus rules Aquarius. Uranus and Saturn don't get along. So this is going to be, and that's why I said it's a very interesting house. But sometimes Saturn could mean a high-ranking person with authority, some type of administrator, or bigger than, like they said, CFO. The 8th house asks us to enlarge or sacrifice our ego boundaries in order to enter into a relationship or union with another or others. So this would, of course, be that person that's in the 5th house. But again, that person in the 5th house also is connected to the 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius. So even though that person in the 5th house is that Scorpio energy, they're all going to be connected to that whole 11th house Aquarius, friends association and groups. And through all of these connections, they're going to make a lot of money from Jupiter. And that's how the 2nd house will be blessed. So in order to enter the relationship, some aspects of the ego must die. And that's what Leo usually represents, the ego. They say usually it's something that dies, not someone. But with that passing of whatever it is, this person experiences a releasing freedom. So a planet in the 8th house, and that planet would be Saturn, indicates that a personal facet of your psyche is under pressure to work more cooperatively or jointly with others. So that's what that whole Scorpio energy does, because we keep coming up with the word psyche and psychic. So they're coming to attack that ego. And that could be that. I mean, I'm not saying this is the case, but that could be kind of hard for a person, because you got somebody in your life and you want them to be significant. Because see, Leo's all about togetherness. Leo ain't trying to hear all that attacking them and stuff. And you know, people define that as having an ego, but it's not really an ego, because you're actually looking out for the whole. But for whatever reason, the Leo gets accused of all kind of stuff. So to have somebody in your relationship that's kind of like the sex might be great, but they may also be attacking you at the same time, constantly breaking you down. And that's funny, because that's what the Kenyan did. The Kenyan girlfriend I had. So, and I'm a Leo. So you see how the universe is working out. It says many planets are significantly, we're going to say that again. A planet in the 8th house, which is Saturn, indicates that a personal facet of your psyche is under pressure to work more cooperatively or jointly with others. So Saturn is trying to put pressure on you to work more cooperatively or jointly with others. Saturn is the tester, and the test for Saturn in your 8th house is the letting go. In sex, there's a general lack of balance, too little or too much, and often a need to control and manipulate the partner out of fear of surrendering. In my opinion and experience, the source of this fear is a childhood or perhaps past life trauma. This is all the stuff I said, because we know we see family here, whether present family or past life. Experienced at a time when you were surrendered in the moment. This can be addressed by emotional therapies, which help you to become more conscious of the earlier trauma so that it is illuminated and capable of being more fully integrated. Or somatic therapies that release the locked-in bodily energy, thereby releasing you into the present. You are good at using what you have to its full advantage, but you may take advantage of others' resources as well. But this is because of the fear of earlier trauma, as already brought out. There are often money problems in both business and personal relationships with this placement. Other things being equal, Saturn in the 8th house is an indicator of a long life. Now Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn in Aquarius is a strong position, since with Uranus it is a co-ruler of Aquarius. And in older astrology that was considered the case, but in more modern astrology, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Just to let you know. And again, all this stuff is about energy, so whatever works for each person. But I had to bring that out. Saturn's test in Aquarius is to grow in openness and fairness. And with Saturn is dealing with karma too. So if a person doesn't do what they're supposed to do in that house, then they start to get bad karma. Just like in the 5th house, if they work with that Scorpio, they're going to see more and more finances and good fortune and expansion. So this person has to be awareness for the brotherhood of all mankind. You'll be asked to put your own personality aside and be representative of a larger, more universal consciousness. Now, you're either going to be strong, scientific, and universal in your outlook, or you're going to be cold, unloving, and opinionated. So only you would know that. They say, but it's important that you keep your circulation flowing with this position. And that's because of Saturn. And again, they didn't really mention it, but again, this is the psychic house because of Aquarius and Saturn. See, whenever you see Sagittarius, Sagittarius can connect into the universe. Aquarius can connect into the community and the brotherhood of the planet, not just your locally, but of the planet. But so can Sagittarius. So this is going to be a highly psychic person. But they just connect to the energies and the vibrations around them on the planet and throughout the universe. That's why if you ever see them people, they be always worrying about other planets and all that stuff. That's why. So why is this person always talking about all these? We can't even get it together on planet Earth. Why are they worrying about all this stuff? But that's because it's in their chart. And they're probably, in past lives, they're from other places as well. But again, it's 27 degrees with Saturn. So it's just saying like there's going to be a learning lesson, but it's going to happen later on at 27 degrees. So now, medium coeli also works as your life purpose. So we know your life purpose was Sagittarian energy. And the medium coeli is in Sagittarius, and there goes Pisces. So this is also going to be an inspirational person. And they're going to have a lot of dreams. And they're going to get a lot of information from their subconscious mind in the dreams. And remember that Pisces rules the 12th house, where your Gemini is. And so Neptune, which gets kind of deep because it goes back to the 7th house with Capricorn. But that's Neptune. And remember, Saturn rules Capricorn. So Neptune helps inspire dreams, and you just have to be careful because, like I said, that's all about idealism. And see, in Libra, like I said, Libra tends to be very idealistic, but sometimes life is realistic. So that's what they keep warning this person, and that's how you get yourself in trouble because the group might say yeah, and you're with the group and you think it's power in the group. But then things start to go wrong, and then the group starts betraying each other, selling each other out, lying on you and all that. And now you're like, wow, how did I get myself into this situation? Because you were with a lying group. And that happened to me in the 1980s. You were with a lying group, and now you're paying the price. And when you see Libra, like the 7th house, you're dealing with the law. Because now the law wants answers of how this happened, and you become the fall guy. All right. So now you see your number 19 again. So you keep seeing that number 19. So Pisces, so your 9th house again going to be very psychic, inspirational, spiritual. And they're trying to force you to the Sagittarius energy. That's why your Pisces rules your 12th house with Gemini. Because like I said, the Gemini is short term and ain't trying to go deep and ain't trying to go long term. Gemini is like, I'll be with you as long as I can do me. But in order to get to a connected relationship, Gemini's got to grow up. So that's what they're trying to do to Gemini. Vesta is also energy. Wherever you see Vesta, that's where you have to take breaks because you'll burn out if you don't. And see, Pisces represents the 12th house that rules it. And this is about self-sacrifice, putting others first, helping others be stronger, humbling yourself, getting your ego in check and serving others. But you have to be careful because people will keep taking. So you have to learn how to say no. See, the thing with the 12th house, you have to teach people how to be strong on their own 2 feet and not always relying on you. Palace is that diamond shape at 6 degrees. It helps you see patterns. Palace helps you see patterns. But it can also be, if it was retrograde, it would deal with social issues. But I tend to say it deals with social issues regardless, especially with a chart like yours, because this is all about social issues. And this is part of your life purpose too. And again, we've already told you about the 9th house travel. But again, it could be higher courts of law, higher self, philosophy, culture, all this. That could even be like a Sunday school teacher or somebody in some type of inspirational area where they're taking some type of teaching lead, because Sagittarius can also be a teacher or a healer, even a psychologist or a nurse, things like that. That's your 9th house. And again, your 9th house is connected to your 6th house, which is opposing your 12th house. And this is all Pisces energy, Pisces, Sagittarius energy. And again, a very psychic person. So like you got different levels of psychics. And that's how this is. If I had to, which I shouldn't do, but if I had to assume, I would assume that his other half has more of the Scorpio type of being a psychic. And then he's more of a Sagittarius, Pisces type. But it's all psychics. And that's why when you be seeing all them televangelists and stuff like, that's what you're really looking at. Those people have psychic gifts and stuff. And a lot of them know that, but they can't tell you that. They just make it spiritual. Tenth house is Aries and Curious. But Curious is a nurturer. And Aries, again, could be quite aggressive. So they don't really give him a 10th house. That's your career. But it's like whatever he's doing, it's kind of like aggressive. You could follow it. You see nurturing, which could connect you to Cancer, because that's the first house is ruled by Cancer. Well, so it's kind of like his family. That's the vibration I'm getting. Like, you know how some people, their job becomes their family. Maybe they didn't have a family, so their job becomes their family. But whatever he's doing, he's going to have some type of family or motherly nurturing element to it. And we just said the first house opposes. Yeah, the 7th house, because there goes Capricorn. Because Capricorn rules the 10th house. So he's going to have some, like I said, it's the whole Libra thing. It's the Libra, you're my family, you're my business partner. You know, it's kind of like what it said. And like I said, I'll tell you straight up, this stuff could be on your chart. It may not go perfectly the way I'm saying it, but it's there. You know, because like me and my Kenyan had a lot of potential, but it just didn't work out. But she definitely would have been partnering. She could have been like partner and all that stuff. Because me and her were like she was like a homeboy. Like she was really like a homie. And that way we was real close. But it was just the crazy stuff. And all the craziness, it just couldn't work no more. Not at that point. Because I had my own issues to deal with. All right. So that's the 10th house. 11th house again goes back to your Aquarius energy and your 8th house. See, it's not good. See what I'm saying? Your resources is always connected to other people, because that Taurus should represent the 2nd house, which is your money, your resources. But all your stuff is connected to that Scorpio in the 5th house, and then the Aquarius in the 8th house. So you got this Scorpio Aquarius energy that's just taking you with all your resources. And I'm warning you, and the other people warned you that that's a good way to fall, because your money's all wrapped up in other stuff. It's kind of like I said, like some of these telemarketing companies, they say, hey, listen, hey, you want to work from home? Don't even worry about it. We'll hook you up with our equipment in your house, and don't worry about it. You can work from home. Just make sure you put your hours in. Boom, 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 and everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. All right. But what they're doing is using you because it's your electricity, and they're using your phone line because all them bills you gonna pay for, not them. Why you think they hooking up in your house? Now, if they come under investigation, guess what's gonna happen? They coming in your house, and you know how it is once they come in your house. Everybody getting your poor old mama gonna get investigated. You know, everybody getting investigated once they come in your house. They're not just gonna go to the telephone equipment and say we just investigating the company. As long as you cooperate, everything will be fine. They investigating everything. If you got a cousin that come through every now and then, he might have dropped some weed seeds or something. They come through and see that, now you want an investigation for that. So that's why you say no. You can. I don't need that type of job. I don't want your equipment in my house because whatever happens with the company, I become like a co-defendant. So that's what this is. It's like, I'm not saying necessarily it's pyramid schemes or all that, but it's some type of community stuff where you're brought in and your money gets tied in with theirs, and it's a done deal. Because that's definitely what you're seeing in your 11th house. Taurus has got to be careful in the 11th house because Taurus may mean well, but Taurus may come off as being pushy. So that's what I'm trying to say about reality. See, idealism is, oh, we all come together and we all work together for a common good and everything will work itself out. That's idealism. That's liberalism, Neptunism. It's idealism. But the reality is people are different. Like, I keep it 100. A lot of people got spirits in them that they need to get delivered from. So you think you know people, you talking about, oh, they got a dark side, that's spirit people. That's when people got spirits that ain't got delivered from them. You got all kind of stuff going on. It's going to be jealousy. You might talk to one female, then all of a sudden another female gets jealous. The job I had in 2014 and 2016, there was a lot of people there. And like, I'm just talking to somebody. I would notice if I'm talking to one female, some female I don't even know, all of a sudden she tries to get in a conversation or she's getting a little whatever. I don't even talk to her. But that's it. Why are you talking to her and not me? So it's all kind of crazy shit that you're going to have to deal with when you deal with people. And that's what this whole chart is saying. So you have to be careful. So that's really the real deal in Lilith and Taurus in the 11th house. And Taurus can be pretty cool with stuff like that. And Taurus can be very patient as well. And also another thing about Taurus in the 11th house is never apply value to people. Because Taurus likes to apply value because that's the second house is about value. So he might say, well, Dave is more important to me, so I'll treat Dave better than Bob because Bob doesn't really help out as much or whatever. But that's applying value to people instead of treating people like people. So Taurus has got to be careful of that as well in the 11th house because the 11th house is all about friends, association, and groups. And your friends and association and groups is caught up with 8th house stuff. Because Aquarius rules the 8th house. So you would have to understand your 11th house, you got to go back to your 8th house, and then you're going to go back to that female in your 5th house. You got a lot of Leo Taurus energy, which can be good, but it can also be bad if it's too arrogant or too pushy. So you got to be careful. And when you see Aries in the 10th house, again, you got to be careful. And we already know that Scorpio and Pluto is very powerful, and that can be very. And these are the kind of things that bring organizations down. Like a leader might have been kind of aggressive, and then somebody caught feelings, and now they're telling or they're making up stories. You understand? Like take MC Hammer. Nobody said nothing about Hammer till he became famous and was making all that money. Now all these people are saying, oh, he's mean, he pushes us too hard, blah. But nobody said nothing about Hammer until he started making all that money. Then all these people started ratting him out. And you don't even know if that stuff was true. Because I'm the type of person, if it was true, how come nobody said nothing until you get famous or something? But, I'm not there, so I don't know what's true now. And you see 24 in that area of your 10th house. And so one is a 24 degree, another is a 24 minute. So these are numbers that are numerologically in your life that I've been saying. All right. So we're gonna look at good fortune and Lilith. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna put this on pause. All right. Give me one moment. So having Lilith in the 11th house can complicate an individual's group activity, making it uneasy to express when among a lot of people. It may be connected with disharmonic memories the person has from how he was treated in groups during his childhood. But it could be childhood, it could be family, it could also be past life. Maybe in these past times he was kind of like the scapegoat, or people mistreated him. Because we definitely see some family stuff there just by the placements. But like I said, it could be this family, it could be past life. You gotta remember, whenever you're dealing with Scorpio a lot, you're dealing with a lot of past life stuff. And it kind of seems like that's why they gave you that Scorpio. Because that Scorpio is going to help him, but he's going to help that Scorpio as well. So the 11th house, he's going to want to be different because of that's ruled by Aquarius. So he might become a member of a weird subcultures or communities or whatever. But that's what you see in the 8th house. Music, lifestyles. So they say because of that nature, you're in a group, but you're still alienated. Because the 11th house is about coming together, but they say because of this placement, it could actually be alienation, especially with Lilith. So they say that if you got Lilith, if you have Lilith in the 11th house, it'll actually lead to disunity based on past life or childhood situations. So they're saying be very careful, and that's what I had already warned you about, power struggles. So that's the best warning I could give you. It's almost like you being set up. See, I need to tell you this, I've grown since I've been doing natal charts for a while now, so I try to only say stuff that needs to be said to the chart, because I try to help, but sometimes it's not appreciated. So I try to, but see, the Kenyan, I was doing everything for her, everything, because I'm a typical Leo. We're very loyal, very faithful. That's why when people say, "Oh, you're ego," say you're calling us ego, we're the ones helping you out. You understand? But you forget all that and sell us out. So I was doing everything for the Kenyan, but the Kenyan would cheat right in front of me, talk to guys right in front of me. You could take her jacket and shake it, and all these phone numbers, all these other guys was coming out of her pocket. She was just that type of person. And I remember something happened one time, but she was always doing this. Something happened where somebody drove incorrectly and messed up everything. But it was that person's fault. And she actually said to me, you're wrong. And if we went to court, I would have to testify against you. And I'm saying to myself, you barely don't even have a pot to piss in. I'm helping you with everything. You've gotten jobs because of me taking you. I was like an agent for her. This is all that 8th house stuff, because the 8th house is about agent, like managers and stuff. And I'm saying to myself, how, and her whole history was like, just like my family did stuff for her, she never paid them back. I mean, so that's what I'm seeing on your chart. So I needed to say that, because it's almost like you're being set up. So they say Lilith has a lot of seductive traits and characteristics, but remember, All that seduction is really going back. See, your 11th house is part of your 5th house. It opposes your 5th house. So all that seduction and stuff is coming off Lilith, but it's also coming off that Scorpio. Because like I said, the king and the sex was great. And that's why I said she was more like a friend. Hanging out with her, she's like the coolest person to hang out with. Hands down. But as far as trying to be in a serious relationship, it wasn't going to happen. Lilith has a lot of seductive traits and characteristics, thus giving strong sexuality to the individual's friendship. Notice how they said friendship, not loving or relationship. Friends with benefits, and that's what she was. Sexual atmosphere will always be present, and it was. But those relationships bring drama and disaster. Lilith can cause dark feelings such as jealousy, hate, betrayals. 11th house Lilith brings suspicions and possessiveness. Because, yeah, with Scorpio and Pluto energy, it can be very possessive, jealous, assuming, doubtful, accusing people of stuff they didn't do, all kind of crazy stuff. And like I said, in that relationship with that female, we went all through it. We went through all that. You can also hate the friends of your lover or whatever. You hate the friends because you feel like they're taking my energy or taking my time, or they might what are they doing with her and all that. They say a love-hate relationship. They even say pathological behavior. And then, like I said, which I wasn't going to comment on it, but whenever you see Scorpio in these placements, or Aquarius or the 11th house, it could be group sex, group sexual activities. Because they say Aquarian and Uranian energy is very open for experimentation. And they even said the word menage a trois and swinging. So this is for the swingers. But with Capricorn energy, which you do see with that Uranus, I believe, is over there, they said it's going to even be very dangerous. They said when you're doing stuff like that, somebody's definitely going to get hurt. At least one or more persons is going to get hurt. So they're strongly encouraging this person to review their childhood to get to the bottom of this. Or even, like I said, this could also be a past life. Because they're going to have subconscious issues. We already know that because Lilith deals with the subconscious as well. So the scheming, manipulation, all this is going on. Sabotaging social groups. And this is why I was warning about that whole Libra. And even Sagittarius, because that's higher courts. You know what I'm saying? Like there was like James Baker. How many of y'all remember him? He's still around. Remember when he had the biggest, I think James Baker had the biggest televangelist movement of all time, I believe. Even bigger than Paul Crouch and Jim Baker and Tammy. And then he went where? A higher court. He went federal court. That's higher than like state court, local court. He went higher. And depending on if your ministry is worldwide, you can find yourself in an international court. Like you think I'm joking, but now you might find yourself in the United Nations, depending on how wide, how big you are. Because I see a lot of Sagittarius on your chart and stuff. That's like somebody real big. and you find yourself in the United Nations courtroom. That's why Benny Hinn backed down, because Benny Hinn was another one of these guys, really benefiting off all that money. But when he saw that they started busting people and trying to investigate, he started flying on them regular. Like he used to have jets like everybody else, private jets and stuff. But then he started then when he saw how they were getting all those people were getting investigated, he said it's not worth it. So then he went down locally. Now you'll see him walking through an airport flying on like a regular jet with his bodyguards and stuff. Whereas before he was flying big jets, private stuff. And even in a recent interview, he admitted, he said maybe I was a little too whatever. All right, bro, a little bit too materialistic. So what I'm trying to tell you is when you allow to see, like I learned a long time ago, just because something's on your chart, you don't have to follow it. Sometimes you got to take a higher road, because what I'm seeing from your chart is you'll have a lot to lose, following these emotions. All right, so we covered that. Give me one moment. Lilith and Taurus. So they're saying this person can also be feared and judged by other people. But they were saying it's something that's already happened, either in this life, in the earlier days, or in the past life. So it's kind of like I said, it being set up. That's the only way I can put it. It's almost like you're the Indians surrounded by cowboys. But like when you thinking with the wrong head, it's just one of them things. Like I learned a long time ago, like you gotta have common sense, because the universe will set you up and stuff. But see, like the best thing I can give you is like Second Corinthians 12. See, Paul was set up by the universe. One minute he's got psychic abilities, revelations, and prophecy. Next minute he's getting attacked by a messenger of Satan, and you see it throughout Scripture. So it's the universe, and that's why I say this isn't a joke, because it's your life. It's what you're gonna do in this life. It's what you're gonna do in the life that's gonna come, past life, and that's why you see Saturn and Capricorn, because you're dealing with karma. And some people just say, well, like when you see, like I'm gonna keep it 100. Like when you be seeing these teachers running away with these young ass kids in school, but that's soul connections, and that's why it's so powerful that somebody's willing to run, and they know they're gonna get caught. Well, you think you're gonna run away? You a 50-year-old man running away with some 15-year-old girl. Where you gonna run that you gonna get away? You understand? But that's a soul thing, and they can see it because no matter what they do, when they look at each other, they can feel it, and no matter where they at, they see that person. You know what I'm saying? They might be shopping in an apartment store, and there's that student again. You understand? So they already know. And then finally, they get that situation, they get that chance to go for it, and they do. And it was one teacher that went to jail. They put her in jail because she had a baby by the guy. He was only like 12 or 13, and she had a baby by him, and other people knew about it. Like his family, like other people knew about it, and they didn't rat her out. Somebody else did, but other people knew what he was doing, and they didn't stop it. So this is like soul stuff. It's not just perverted stuff. It's soul stuff. I'm not saying it's right to do that, but I'm saying it's deeper than just some school pervert. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not some guy walking around just trying to get little kids. These are cases that were so powerful that they were willing to go through anything. And it was a guy that just got out of jail recently because he had slept with his teeth. Something happened. I forget what it was, but she slept with him or something. She got out of jail, but then when she got out of jail, they got married, but then they broke up. So that's why I keep saying it's psychic, and females are way more psychic than men because females are the universe. It's the womb. So this is the stuff you really need to know, because that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is where people are at, but they're talking silly. They don't want to know the deep stuff. They just want a quick answer and all that silly stuff, and they just keep on doing it over and over again, and all you're doing is reaping karma, karma, karma that you're going to have to pay for. And it's not going to be worth all this stuff you put yourself through. I mean, Jim Baker was big. There was other big ones. At one time, Jim Swaggart was big, and there's one other guy, I'm not going to remember his name, but he had a real big ministry too. But all of them fell with some type of scandal or stuff like that. All right. So I believe that is your seventh house. But ironically, no, that is your house. Now, to correctly read your 11th house, it would have to be good fortune conjunct Lilith. And I don't think the internet's going to give you that answer. All right, so I did. I see something. I'm just going to give me a moment. Um, See, I'm not really finding so much in it. Nah. Give me a moment. right, so all I can give you. All right, part of fortune in the 11th. But you have to remember what the 11th house said. It says you may have the urge to be a reformer or pioneer of a new social culture or spiritual values, and that's what his 11th house is. We already explained that. Happiness comes from contact with bright, intelligent people or friends who stimulate your imagination and inspired ideas and noble concepts. But again, we have to take that information and apply it to what we said in the 11th house. All right, so part of fortune in Taurus. Negative is low self-worth, fear of failure, dependent on the validation of others, and concerned about other people's motivation. See, that's what's going on here. You understand? Now, the positive would be self-sufficient, self-supporting, secure, steadfast. That's why I said it's just a choice. See, like I said, it hurt me, but that Kenyan had to go. You understand? She had to go. Because, I mean, there was a lot, like I said, the sex was always great. There was never a time the sex was bad. And she was, like, to have fun, she was the best friend in the world to have fun with. But that serious shit, she, just like I'm reading on his chart, she loved fucking you over. Like, she really got off breaking hearts and just devastating people and shit. She really got off. Like, that really got her off, you know. And I was, like, that was, like, over 20 years ago. So I didn't know nothing about no metaphysics and stuff like that. But even now, you know, I wouldn't want that. So it is what it is. So that's what your chart is saying. So when you have a chart like yours, you have to read the overall information. There's possibilities too, but you can't. It's already too much idealism, because that's how you get yourself in trouble. You actually believe these people are going to be there for you, and in the long run they're not. They may sometimes, but in the long run they're not. And a lot of people do that. Same thing when you go to churches. These people don't get along, but they'll put on a fake face like they do because they believe they have to. But I learned I'm a sheep. I'm not around no fucking wolves and shit at all. Like, I try not to. If I'm around them, it's because I have to be. Otherwise, I don't have no wolves around me, because then people are going to turn around. And even Jesus said, don't throw your pearls before swine. Now, whether you believe in Jesus or not, that's not what I'm preaching. But what he said is still true. Whoever said it, whatever you believe, don't throw your pearls before swine. It's like, don't put yourself in a situation that you're going to get devoured. Because he said that's what's going to happen. They're going to rip you out. So it's just certain things you learn as common sense. And each person's got to make that decision if they want that information or if they don't. If they're going to apply it or not. All right. Now we did it. We already went over a lot of the 12th house. It's all about reckoning family issues. So we already went over that. But also deals with buildings, isolation. But your 12th house is really trying to heal your Gemini energy. Reckoning. And also in your 12th house, you can help others. But the best help you can give people is to teach them how to stand on their own 2 feet and not always come running to you all the time. Because that's how you get burned out. and taken advantage of. And that goes back to your Vesta. And I find, ironically, your Vesta is in where? Pisces. And Pisces rules your 12th house. So for whatever reason, you have a need to be around people, whatever reason, and maybe you think somehow. But a lot of people will do that either because of past life stuff in their subconscious, so they feel this need to really be around people, but it can really do damage. And like I said, I've been here for a minute. I've been on this planet past 40 years, and I've learned that maybe I had a lot of that going on in my early days. Like, I've just learned, I'm definitely a spiritual person, so I know how to spiritually teach, but that doesn't mean I got to be around a whole lot of people, especially if we're dealing with people that are acting one way but totally different people. And then you get that a lot out here on this planet. So like I said, I'm not going to deliberately put myself around no wolves, because I already did all that in the early 80s and stuff like that. So I understand life, like, what's my responsibility as a man? That's how I look at this planet. What's my responsibility as a man? And I try to stay in those categories. Plus I got limitations because I'm not the healthiest person in the world. So I got to know when to say yes, when to say no, and put my trust in God for anything else. Because there's always going to be some type of crap coming your way on this planet. That's why I love the scriptures, because you learn all that. So it's not like, oh, religious. Some people just say, oh, I'm a religious, but they don't even know their scriptures. No, I know my scriptures. So that's why I'm pretty fortified with how I view life and how I stand. And at the end of the day, no matter who you are, you can only take one day at a time. The moment you start thinking you planning three and 4 months in advance, who knows? Like I said, take Drake. Drake has been ruling the music world for years. But now he's in a position where finally somebody has said something in a rap that had knocked him back. Not saying he won't get up and keep ruling. I'm not saying that. But that knocked him back. So that did kind of change a couple of plans. And some people lose endorsements and stuff because of stuff like that. So anything could come out of nowhere. That's Uranus. So you got to be ready for that. But when you take one day at a time, like advised, you're in a better frame of mind. When you're trying to plan 3 and 4 and 5 months in advance, you might not even be alive. Anything could happen in 3 and 4 or 5 months from now. So there's wisdom in, like I said, scriptures. It could seem like it's limiting you to some people, but there's a lot of wisdom as well. Final house, the 7th house, ruled by Libra. All about relationships, but it takes you right back to that 4th house, which is ruled by family, where you have Juno, serious relationship. So, all right, Capricorn in the 7th house. Remember now, this is definitely a partnership. Business partnership. And you got Mars right there, which is going right along with your Aries energy in the 10th house. So again, this could be aggressive. This can be combative. This might even be somebody in some type of service or military, believe it or not. And then you got the whole masculine Mars, feminine Venus thing going on. Sun sign Capricorn. Capricorn are business-minded people. Can be very attractive people. They look good, smell nice. Professional people. Career-minded people. And he's a good communicator because of Mercury. But Mercury deals with that Gemini energy. So his relationship, though, will have a serious approach to it. Possibly too serious. Now, when you see Venus and Mars, that could be passive aggressive. Like I said, a lot of love 1 minute, and we kept reading it, love, hate, love, hate, love, hate. A lot of love 1 minute, a lot of intensity the next minute. So their partnership is going through all that. And that's why when you see people like that, you say, oh, they always arguing. Oh, 1 minute they all hugged up, next minute they all arguing. But unfortunately, it's really not too much you can do about it. Because sometimes you jump in other people's problems and then you lose friends, or you be the one in trouble or whatever. Because each person has got to learn their own thing. And sometimes it's sad because it might even be abuse. But still, if a person allows somebody else to abuse them, they got to learn not. They got to want to not be abused. Because you could always pick up the phone. And the cops will come and handle that. And hopefully nobody gets shot in the process. But nobody should be putting their hands on somebody else for any reason. That I'm telling you right now, if you put your hands on somebody else, then you really need to get the help you need. Cause I've been there, I've been on this. I done seen it all. Is what I'm trying to tell you. I done seen it all. I done been there, done that. And that's just not the answer. And the planet we on is not always the happiest place to be. And it's all kind of crazy stuff, even metaphysical stuff that people don't understand. But you gotta learn how to combat that. That's why I always tell people spirituality is always gonna be the best answer to combat that. And like I said, it was just time for the Kenyan to go. So that was the best thing that could happen, because you know she kept going and coming back and all that. But I'm putting her out. She coming back, but she just needed to go because we had got to the point where I just can't be around you because you do so much horrible stuff that I can't be around you. You know, but that's a choice she made too. You understand that that's a choice she made because she could have did things differently, but she wasn't going to. Plus, at the end of the day, she was a worldwide type person. That's that Sagittarius energy. She is a worldwide person, and I'm more local. So it wasn't going to work out further than it already did. And once you start deliberately hurting people, it's just time to move on. So it's better to do that than to be beating the crap out of somebody, even if they sit there and take it, because you know that's something a coward would do. Like, you could be justified at why you mad at somebody, but it doesn't justify the beatdowns. That's all I can tell you. And that's a coward, because you should just let the person go, because obviously it's not right for you. So why beat the person down, still be with the person, and you're verbally abusing them, physically abusing them, and then you're justifying it because, oh, she flirted with another guy in front of me. Oh, shit, I'm always finding numbers. All right, well, then something's wrong. If you two can't work that out, instead of beating the person up or continuing that self-destructive path, I'm going to get them back because they did this to me. I'm going to hurt them too. So it's a game people play. So that's why I say it might be a little too serious. And then you got the passive, I love you, hate you stuff going on. Then you got Neptune. And see, your 7th house is ruled by Libra, but that's all about fantasy. The world is not going to be fantasy. Everybody you meet is going to have something you're not going to like about them. And that's why I tell people, that's why instead of jumping into bed, having sex, learn how to date so that you get to know a person and stuff like that. And Capricorn is not necessarily bad. There's nothing wrong with being serious-minded, but you would have to find a person that is serious-minded like you. Because other people might say, well, you're already too serious. I just met you and you're already too serious. But you understand, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I wish more men were serious, and I wish more women were more serious, because we would stop all this crap we got on this planet. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you're with the wrong person, it's the bad thing, because you're saying, well, I feel this way. And they're saying, well, I don't feel that way. I just met you. You understand? I just met you. So that person's not ready for what you're looking for. So again, it'd be foolish to continue to go further, because it's going to get to the point, that Mars energy, that intensity, and then you're going to want to beat somebody up and get abusive. So sometimes we just have to fall back and be more mature. But he's great. He's great with communicating what he wants. But Uranus is that unexpected. See, that's that passive aggressive. That's what scared the heck out of you. Because you don't know where it's coming from. So one minute he's so serious, the next minute he could be so fun. But see, that sun energy is taking him back to Leo. Leo rules the sun. So he has the capacity to be sunny 1 minute, like 5th house 1 minute, and then all of a sudden he goes totally somewhere else. Because it's almost like his chart is saying, I want a serious relationship so bad that I'll beat the crap out of you if you don't give it to me. So he's gotten a lot of advice. I hope you was taking notes, because you got a lot of advice. See, what people do with these charts, they just listen to me. And I laugh, like, listen to the information. You understand? Because that's how you're gonna benefit from what you ask for. They listen to me. It's like, and that's why I don't ever come on camera, because humans, like, they just like to follow. Don't follow nobody. Be your own lead. Like, just get on the right path. See, I got on the right path and then follow that path. Don't follow a human, because humans, they're going to make mistakes too. And that's why I said Jim Baker, Jimmy Swaggart. I wish I could remember that other guy, because he was real big too. These are all men that had the world at their hands, and they just all just fumbled and dropped it, because you want to become a cult of personality. And you missed the whole point. Okay, Oral Roberts was another one to name it. Well, he was the one that said, God said he gonna kill me for $8 million. If you don't pay me $8 million, God is gonna kill me. So I was just trying to find out one guy. Give me 1 minute. I won't take up too much time, but I wanted to get that name. They got everybody but the guy I'm looking for. It's funny how they got everybody but the one guy I'm looking for. All right. I think this might be him. I think. But I don't think they say his name. It's funny. It's just funny to me how the universe works. And I don't see how they can't not have him, because he was one of the biggest. All right. Give me 1 moment. All right, so I wasn't able to find his name, but let's continue. All right. So he got in that 7th house. He got some bipolar stuff going on. So when Neptune sending idealism, when the world isn't idealistic, it's realistic. Libra also is idealistic. This is another person that could withdraw instead of, like, he's willing to communicate what he wants, because Mercury is a good, very thoughtful, very mental, very great communicator, but he's willing to communicate what he wants. Like, yeah, I want this type of relationship, I want this type of family and stuff like that. But he doesn't have what's needed to deal with reality. Because Virgo has that problem too. Virgo can be somewhat idealistic, and Virgo can be really critical too. And that's why I said, like verbal abuse is written all over this chart, physical abuse as well. So like I said, I just being honest, this world is what it is. And you could try to make it something else, but this world is what it is. And the one thing I learned is you gotta let people go their way. But they don't have, that doesn't mean it has to taint. Like if you have character, you don't have to let this world taint your character. And that's just a fact. It's not me just saying stuff. This is what I live. That's why I talk the way I do. Cause like my whole background, I was in them streets. Ain't nobody put their hands on me. It's just respect. Like I'm not with this. I've never been with the silly stuff. And you are gonna see. You see all this Saturn. That's telling you it's gonna be karma. Like when you see 8th house and 12th house, that's telling you it's gonna be karma. You're gonna pay for it. And when I say you, I'm talking about anybody. You're gonna pay for whatever you do. So you can fake it if you want to, but it's gonna come a time when everything you did you're gonna pay for. That's how the universe always been. And if you notice, your 12th house is ruled by who? Pisces. Now, in the Christian perspective, Pisces is the Christ, the Messiah, the fisher of men. So you can't get away from it. I don't believe in that junk. You don't have to believe in it. I could say I'm the most handsome man in the world. Women love me. That's Neptune. That's deception. Women may not feel the same way. You can believe whatever you want to. That don't mean it's not going to happen. So when people come to me, it's my job, my universal responsibility to tell you what's really going on. Now what you do with it after that, that's your business. All right. So what we're looking at right now is Uranus and Capricorn. Because we already know the whole, like they've been saying, love, hate, the whole Pisces, that's the problem. I do have love for you. But when you break my Neptune fantasy, when you break my Libra fantasy, or what I think a relationship's going to be, now I'm going to hate you. And it's a good chance I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Depending on how much you don't fall back. And when you're dealing with Scorpio, they're not going to fall back. And so in your sick mind, you say, well, I'm going to hit them harder. You understand? I'm going to hit them harder. But you don't realize what you need to do is fall back and maybe just realize this ain't the thing for you. I don't care what's on the natal chart. I see natal charts where somebody's destined to kill somebody. What, you going to go kill them because it's on your chart? Tell that to the judge. Your Honor, I only did what's on my natal. It was my true north node, my divine purpose, to kill this person. So you got to know when to say no. I'm not. That's an assignment I'm not following out. All right. So we're looking for Uranus and Saturn. Right? Or I should have. Did I do it right? Nah. What am I? Oh, Uranus and Capricorn. Uranus and Capricorn. When Uranus is in Capricorn, we see worldwide upheavals. So you already know that's going to be a rocky 7th house. Things happening suddenly, Uranus, and politics and government, Capricorn. So in other words, it's going to rock stability. So this guy, like I said, one minute he really could come off as, oh, he's so fun. See, because my moon sign is Capricorn. My sun sign is Leo. So people might see me. That's why I try to just, because now I understand astrology and stuff, and I understand, like, I'm a master in human psychology, because I wanted to know where I was at. Like, I study everything, study the Bible, study God. I study everything in my whole life, because I didn't know where the hell am I at and what's going on. You understand? So now I understand how you move certain ways, because somebody might see you one day. Oh, he's a Leo. He's so sunny and happy. You know what I'm saying? I want that energy. So you got these people being attracted to that, but then I got the moon sign in Capricorn and ain't so happy and funny and fluffy and junk. And they're like, wow, he's bipolar. No, not. It's just two different. You know, you gotta understand your sun sign, your moon sign. So now I just try to be balanced. So where I might have cracked the joke, I may not crack the joke now, or I try to, you know, case the environment I'm in before I decide how much I'm gonna show myself. You got to be real careful. Especially nowadays, because right now you're in a period where people are just complaining about everything. So you might just say a compliment to somebody takes the wrong way. You understand? And that could get reported to your supervisor. Let's just say you work in customer service and you see a female and you say, "Ooh, that hat looks nice." And she's like, "Well, that's unprofessional." You know what I'm saying? How dare he comment on my hat? I don't know him like that. I'm not in here for him to comment on him. You're customer service. You just do your job. And you get written up and get warned. But somebody else might have loved the compliment. Like each person is different. Like this is shit you really got to know. I'm not making this shit up. That's why you see all these people going to jail and going to court. Stuff happened 20, 30 years ago. Okay, you understand? That's the time we live in. So you got to not be afraid. I'm not telling nobody to be afraid, but you have to be aware, and then you got to act accordingly. And that's how you grow up. Because to me, that's what Capricorn really means. You grow up and be mature, not smacking people around and not getting upset because somebody didn't fit into your idea how this is supposed to go. If a chick is acting like that, then let them go. If you're a female and a man acting like that, let them go. But yo, I don't want to be lonely. What am I? So you get caught up in all the silly emotions, and you stand there and get your ass kicked, or you stand there and be in a horrible relationship because you ain't man enough or woman enough to deal with it. And then you're mad at me for telling you the truth. You understand? So it is what it is. And like I said, if you don't listen, you're gonna have karma. You're gonna pay for it anyway. So you're not getting away with something. You're never gonna get away with anything going against this universe. And that's why when people use astrology just for love and career and not for life while you're here, you're gonna pay for that. All right. So souls being born when Uranus is in Capricorn will be innovative in the political and business area. And we already saw that as far as the communities he'll be connected with and stuff like that. But will come down either on the traditional, conventional side, Capricorn, or on the free spirit side of change, Uranus. But like I said, what that is bipolar. You can't get past it. He's got Venus, he's got Mars, he got Capricorn, he's got Uranus. So this is going to be bipolar. Leaving this conflict unresolved can adversely affect your health, which I already warned them about. Most probably in the stomach area or the digestive system. So for stomach area, make sure you have your magnesium, make sure you have your calcium, vitamin C, and for circulation, which they also warned you about, vitamin E. But the best thing is to just fall back and get your shit together. You understand? I had to do it. That's why I love what I do, because I'm not telling you something I haven't already done. Because I had to fall back from the Kenyan and get my shit together. And for me, one of the best decisions I made was to get to know me before I'm trying to get to know somebody else. And that's probably one of the almost best decisions I made on this planet was that decision. Because any other decision I did was based on like serving God and stuff, but that's not really my decision. That's my duty. It's not the same thing. My decision to do what I did was the best decision I made when I said, okay, we're going to chill out on this and get my shit together. Because now how I move now is that it's going to be based on reality. And anybody around me, like I said, I don't voluntarily go nowhere where it's going to be hypocrites, liars, and all that shit. It's not voluntary. I'm going to have to work, like, depending on where I work. You know what I'm saying? That's something new. So I can't really comment on that because that's new. But I can comment on 2014 because I was there for a while. Not saying the people was bad, but you got to be careful because one person did lie on me and get me fired. And that was a so-called twin flame. So now it's supposed to be something special, but you see what I'm saying? So you got to know this stuff because before you go. And sometimes when you realize this stuff, unfortunately, which you might hate to do, but if you're somewhere and somebody's stalking you like your twin flame or whoever, you might have to rat them out before they rat you out. Because otherwise you're going to be the one on the employment line. You understand? So you got to go ahead and tell HR what's going on, human resources, and hopefully they give a fair investigation. And if not, at least you got your paperwork in case you got to go more deeper than that. But don't, because I'm, like I said, where I come from, you don't really tell. But in cases like that, that's your financial livelihood. Because that was a nightmare. That whole twin flame experience. I still benefited from the teaching and all that, learning and teaching others. But that was hell on earth. That was a nightmare. So something like that, maybe it'd be better if you just nip it in the bud before it blow out. Just like I said, if it's passive aggressive, it's better you nip it in the bud before you hit somebody and they fall down some steps and then you got a body and shit. Now everybody asking you where your girlfriend at, like they asking where Melania Trump is at. You know, we ain't seen her in 22, 24 days. Where's Melania Trump? I'm not saying nothing wrong with her, but everybody knows she don't like her husband, and I can't really blame her for that. But that's what happens. Where your girlfriend at? We ain't seen her in 22, 23, and she under the staircase in the backyard somewhere. So before that happen, get your shit together so you can get your life together. Because that's why I said best decision I made was to develop myself before I'm trying to work with somebody else. Because what a female is going to really look for is a strong man. If you're not stable, if you're emotional and all that, you're not going to help her because she's going to press them buttons. But that's metaphysics, is what I'm trying to tell you. That's all metaphysics. You got the darkness, you got the light. It's all, but that's how you have life. You have the darkness, you have the light, and that makes your life. So it's supposed to happen. It's metaphysics. You gotta learn that. And when I say you, I'm talking about anybody listening, me as well as me. Now, so they can find new ways and innovative ways to manage and control people. We learned about that in the 11th house. And even I told you Saturn in the 8th house could be some type of controller or administrator. But you just have to be careful with manipulating people, and your Lilith, which kind of likes the drama, or your fears and your subconscious mind, which kind of leads to people not liking you. So this person may come up with new and alternative ways of governing others. And they may bring new life to conservative ideas and traditions. So that was a very interesting chart to read. All right, we got a lot of sales going on, just so everybody knows. I think we're doing like 25% off. It's a video right on this channel. Like, my videos be all on the web, so I always say the name of the channel on YouTube so people can find it, because you might be listening to this by audio, or you might just see the video but don't know where it's from. So it's Archangel, Revelations and Prophecies 444, seen and heard on YouTube. And we do got sales on anything, whether it's astrology, relationships, compatibility, love. What are the stars? What is your prophecy? Your predictive astrology, numerology, name and birth numerology, phone consultations, everything. And we deal with animal stuff. We deal with them, anything, planets, everything, anything paranormal, supernatural. It's all messages from the universe, and we deal with it. And again, when you really take this seriously, what happens is you start applying it and getting yourself together. Because then what happens when you meet somebody, you're more in a place. Like before, I might have met somebody saying, oh, you know, what can I do to make this a better relationship? Now when I meet somebody, it's more like, is this going to be a fit? So how I talk to that person is totally different. But people, believe it or not, they respect that. If they're really interested in getting to know you, they're respecting that you kind of let them know up front that you ain't with all that BS and all that silly stuff. And that gives them a chance to make a better decision. At least they know you're not going to be doing that. We're not in junior high school no more, coming time to grow up. So it works out for the better. Stay positive. Like I said, I'm in a new location now, and I see beautiful people every day. Unbelievably beautiful people. And some of the people I work with, I'm new, so I don't know everybody, but some of those people are pretty cool as well. So it is what it is. Sometimes you got to go through some darkness before you can see the light, but you got to stay positive. And you don't want to do dark stuff because you're going to pay for it either. But the law going to arrest you, you're going to be doing some jail time, or karma going to get you. So this is why you do your natal chart, so you know what's going on, so you know how to react to have a better life. This is Gat. God bless.